today is on the pursuit of happiness. So today, as we celebrate our nation's 244th birthday, it seemed like the perfect time to look at the document that birthed this great country of ours, the Declaration of Independence. Now, this is not to ignore or diminish the fact that there is much more that we as individuals and as a nation can do to further advance the principles set forth in the Declaration of Independence. However, I thought that understanding the context for its being written was a good starting point for today's talk. The Declaration of Independence begins when, in the course of human events, it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them with another, and to assume among the powers of the earth the separate and equal station to which the laws of nature and of nature's God entitle them. A decent respect to the opinions of mankind requires that they should declare the causes which impel them to the separation. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Now, that first sentence of the Declaration of Independence is 71 words long and quite a mouthful, and it certainly could have used a good editor. However, most importantly, it establishes our relationship to God by stating that the rights and powers of the individual comes from God and not the king. The second sentence is much more succinct and contains some of the most powerful and empowering words ever written. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men, and now women, I will add, are created equal. They are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these rights are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. I've always been intrigued that the Declaration of Independence included the right to the pursuit of happiness. Now, Suzanne asked me, well, what'd you find intriguing about that phrase, the pursuit of happiness? And I said, well, I've written and edited government documents and speeches for over 30 years, and never once did I use the word happiness in one of them. So it struck me as an interesting phrase to have in a government document that was written by a committee of 5 men and signed by 56 men. I mean, just think about it. That's a feat in itself. So as I was researching this talk, I found that historians say that the pursuit of happiness is the most famous phrase in the Declaration of Independence and attributed to Thomas Jefferson. Jefferson replaced the original text, life, liberty, and property, that was written by John Locke. Well, Jefferson followed the Greek philosopher Epicurus, and Epicurus deeply influenced Jefferson's belief about happiness and civic good. In a letter to a friend, Jefferson talked about his study and admiration of Epicurus and summarized the 3 key points of Epicurean philosophy: moral, happiness, which is the aim of life; virtue, the foundation of happiness; utility, the test of virtue. According to Epicurus, who was born in 341 BC and died at the old age of 71, which was twice the lifespan of a person of that era, the goal of living was to find happiness through friendship, living humbly, and avoiding pain and anxiety. To Epicurus, living a virtue life and a peaceful life were one and the same. So let me repeat that because I think it's worth repeating. The goal of life is to find happiness through friendship, living humbly, and avoiding pain and anxiety. When Jefferson wrote The Pursuit of Happiness, he was evoking the Epicurean tradition, where happiness is tied to the civic virtues of courage, moderation, and justice for all. Courage, moderation, and justice for all. Since happiness in this context is based on civic virtues, not just personal feelings, the pursuit of happiness is not limited to an individual's pleasure or success. And this is why Alexander Hamilton and the other founders refer to the pursuit of happiness as including social and societal well-being. Now, while all of the signers of the Declaration of Independence were Christians, including several who were ministers and several who were the sons of ministers, not all belonged to traditional Christian churches, and not all believed in traditional Christian doctrines of the time. Washington, Jefferson, Franklin, Madison, and Monroe practiced a faith called deism. Deism, which is derived from Latin deus, meaning God, takes a position that rejects revelation as a source of religious knowledge and asserts that reason and observation of the natural world are sufficient to prove the existence of a supreme being. I found that quite interesting and quite enlightening. Jefferson, in practicing his faith, referred to what is referred to today as the Jefferson Bible. It consisted of 2 volumes, The Philosophy of Jesus of Nazareth and The Life and Morals of Jesus of Nazareth. He basically threw out the Old Testament and cut up the New Testament. A 2012 Smithsonian article said, Jefferson was devoted to the teachings of Jesus Christ, but he didn't always agree with how they were interpreted by biblical sources, including the writers of the 4 Gospels, who he considered to be untrustworthy correspondents. I got a kick out of that. So Jefferson created his own gospel, the Jefferson Bible now. Jefferson himself believed that a person's religion was between him and their God. But his belief system was so out of the mainstream that opponents in the 1800 presidential election labeled him a howling atheist. So in thinking about happiness and the interrelationship of individual pursuits with societal well-being and corporate success, the phrase doing well by doing good came to mind. I've heard these words a lot lately, so I thought it was a contemporary phrase, doing well by doing good. You know, several large investment law firms tout socially responsible investments and index funds that are focused on those companies whose corporate philosophy is to do well by doing good. Imagine my surprise in finding that the phrase author was none other than our friend, Benjamin Franklin, who in the late 1700s counseled Americans to do well by doing good. Today, maybe more than ever, we face challenges as a nation and as individuals to balance the appropriate mix of capitalism and philanthropy. And in our personal lives, to find the balance between pursuing financial success and supporting the well-being for our society as a whole. It's a tough balance, and it's played out in the media and in our lives every day. What is our responsibility and society's responsibility when it comes to the homeless? Healthcare for everyone, a living wage, vaccinations, voting rights, and that's just to name a few. These are real issues of the day, and put into play our desire for individual happiness and financial well-being, with providing action and resources to support the good of the whole. Thinking about the process of writing the Declaration of Independence created in me an awe and appreciation for the creative ability that we human beings all have. It led me to think about author Ron Chernow's biography of Alexander Hamilton. Chernow gave us insight into the 1700s and into Hamilton, who galvanized, inspired, scandalized, and shaped our banking system. Lin-Manuel Miranda took this 21,000-word book that I couldn't finish reading and turned it into an award-winning Broadway musical that is historically informative, fast-paced, and riveting. Chernow and Miranda blessed us with an amazing history lesson. And as you may know, the musical has grossed over $1 billion. But what I love is that before Miranda even started writing the play, he debuted the first rap song called Alexander Hamilton at the 2009 White House Poetry Jam in front of President and Michelle Obama. The mostly historically accurate musical kept Alexander Hamilton on the $20 bill and brought a new understanding for our nation's history to us all, and maybe most importantly, to young people. Now, Hamilton, the musical, is coming to Sacramento in September, and if you have tickets, you are in for a treat. So going back to that radical phrase, the pursuit of happiness, as we know, words change through time. The dictionary defines happiness as a state of well-being, contentment, joy, a pleasurable, satisfying experience. And then it states the obsolete meaning, good fortune, prosperity. Biblical scholars say that happiness is roughly synonymous with the biblical idea of blessedness. And in classic Christian ethics, happiness is referred to as a state of human well-being that aligns the life of the individuals with the truest good for the whole. For a person to be truly happy, their actions, thoughts, desires, and ambitions must be aligned with the betterment of mankind. Happiness was thus an ethical behavior and not a personal, psychological endeavor. But is there a difference between joy and happiness? Some say happiness is an outward expression and joy is an inward feeling. A person pursues happiness, but internalizes joy. According to Dr. Rick Hansen, when we feel joy or wholesome contentment, other states fall away. Joy is more consistent and is cultivated internally. Joy is when you make peace with who you are, why you are, and how you are. Happiness tends to be externally triggered and based on other people, places, events, thoughts, things that happen to you. Now, maybe you're thinking right now, but exactly how do I experience more happiness or find more joy? I think Suzanne did a great job leading us there. But I'd like to do a little experiment here on the antidote for happiness, a surefire way to repel joy and happiness. So imagine getting up in the morning and focusing on your aches and pains. Imagine replaying every wrong that has ever been done to you, not just for this past week, but for your whole life. Find somebody or something to blame for anything that isn't perfect in your life. Even if it's a small thing like a wet newspaper or a spilled cup of coffee. And turn on the news of the day and focus on all the crummy things that are happening in our city, our state, our nation. Really, now worry. Just worry. Worry about your well-being. Worry about your kids. Worry about the economy. Worry about your government. Really worry. Take it up a notch. How do you feel? Probably like yelling at the TV or someone you love. Maybe kicking the dog, going back to bed. Or maybe worse. Maybe you go out and inoculate everyone you come in contact with your bad attitude. So now cancel that. Cancel that all out. Cancel it out. And imagine just the opposite. You wake up and you thank God that you are alive, alert, energetic, and enthusiastic about this day. You notice the beauty of the morning, maybe the spectacular sunrise. You sit quietly and bless your body, thanking it for supporting you, for being healthy. You give gratitude for everyone and everything who has been in your life and blessed you on your journey. You sit in silence and breathe in the feeling, knowing that you are a truly amazing child of God. This is why we meditate. To seek that place where everything falls away and we melt into oneness, being one with the one. Eric Butterworth says we can be grateful not just for our many blessings, not just for the way people treat us, not just for the abundance that God has given us, but we can be grateful from the consciousness that we are forever continually in tune with the divine flow. And so we live our lives from a grateful, thankful heart, being conscious of our oneness with God and with every other person. So while there are many things to meditate on, you can never go wrong when you're meditating on gratitude. I'm sure you know how it feels to buy that very perfect gift for someone. You're so excited, it's just absolutely perfect. Maybe you send it off to them and you hear nothing. Nothing. No thank you, no I got it. No thanks for thinking of me. Nothing. Okay, I know we don't give gifts to get thanked. I'm evolved enough for that. But let me just ask you, how excited would you be to go out and find another perfect gift for that person? Probably not much. Probably not much. So not to anthropomorphize God or the universe, but what if God or the universe is saying, here's an amazing sunrise. How about that? And you got nothing. Well, here's an amazing sunset. How about that? and you give nothing. There's nothing from you, no acknowledgement. Here's a wonderful meal with friends. And again, you are silent. Maybe God just stops offering up things to bless you with. And maybe it's the other way around. Maybe gratitude is like a muscle. Use it or lose it. Lose your ability to appreciate. The more you practice gratitude and identify people, places, things, and experiences in your life to be grateful for, the more you see to be grateful for. The more you count your blessings, the more blessings you have to count. Imagine that. Maybe it's the law of attraction. Or maybe it's shifting your focus to all that is good. And the more you focus on the good in your life, the more you see. Paul said in Philippians 4:8, finally, brothers and sisters, whatever things are true, whatever things are honest, whatever things are just, whatever things are pure, whatever things are lovely, whatever things are good, anything of virtue, and anything to praise, think on these things. So begin by pursuing happiness, and then expand your personal pursuit to actions leading to the well-being of the nation, as our founders envisioned. And as our friend Ben said, do well by doing good. So as I come to the end, I'd like to close by singing a song that composer Irving Berlin wrote in 1918 while serving in the Army. Now we all know that that was about the time of World War I, right? But he didn't actually publish the song until 1938, when Hitler's armies were threatening Europe. This simple one-verse song became an overnight hit with the threat of World War II looming. Did you know that Irving Berlin was Jewish and immigrated to this country when he was 5 years old? He said about writing the song, it's not a patriotic song, but an expression of gratitude for all this country has done for me and for its citizens, and about what really home means. This song is God Bless America, and many Americans consider it our unofficial national anthem. So today, let's sing this song as a tribute to the wisdom of the founders of this great country, with the recognition that while we're not done yet in our pursuit of happiness for the nation as a whole, there's still so much to be grateful for. So today, as we sing this song, let's pledge to do our part and do well by doing good. Gordon?
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with a light from above, from the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans white with foam. God bless America.
Thank you, my friends. It has been a deep pleasure to do this talk today. It gave me such a great appreciation for this great nation. God bless you.